Welcome to the NZ Travel Show, an interactive show where you can ask your NZ travel questions to the experts behind nzpocketguide.com, New Zealand's largest travel guide. The NZ Travel Show will start in exactly 2 minutes. Just the time for you to hit the like button, ring the notification bell and subscribe if you have not done so yet. NZPocketGuide.com has over 3,000 articles covering all aspects of travelling in New Zealand, from a working holiday gap year to tips for a perfect family holiday. The site also features dozens of pre-made itineraries that you can use to plan your ideal trip in New Zealand. It's all available for free at nzpocketguide.com, so check it out. The NZ Travel Show is hosted by Robin, the Operations Manager of South Pacific Pocket Guide, the company behind nzpocketguide.com. The New Zealand Travel Show is also hosted by Laura, a journalist and editor-in-chief of South Pacific Pocket Guide and all its publications, including nzpocketguide.com. We're exactly 1 minute away from the NZ Travel Show. Get yourself comfortable and start asking your NZ travel questions in the chat. Robin and Laura will go over them when the show starts. In 30 seconds, our experts will be live from New Zealand to give you all the practical New Zealand travel tips you need, from the best transport options to the best accommodations and activities to choose for the perfect New Zealand holiday. Live from New Zealand, this is the NZ Travel Show with your travel experts, Robin and Laura.
And good morning, everybody. I hope that you are all doing absolutely awesome. It is Sunday, the 4th of June, 2023. And today we have a brand new concept for the NZ Travel Show, let's say.
Different.
We're going to try something very, very new today. And we're going to take you on board the BlueBridge Ferry. So we're going to show you everything there is to see about the BlueBridge Ferry, including we'll take you on the bridge where the captain operates. So yeah, it's a whole hour of us kind of showing you that awesome experience all the way. We're taking you from Wellington to Picton. So right now we're currently driving, making our way toward the BlueBridge check-in. And as we are making our way toward the BlueBridge check-in, we can see the ferry a little bit in the background. So we're driving through beautiful Wellington. And we want to say hello to Sherry, which is here, saying good morning, guys. How are you doing, Sherry?
Morning.
That's awesome. And Adil is here as well. We'll go over your question in a minute as we're just going to show you the first part of the check-in. And then, obviously, there's going to be a long wait until we board. And so during that wait, we'll be able to chat a little further and go over the comments. So what is the first thing that we're doing when we arrive at the check-in station?
Yeah, so it's pretty easy to tell where we need to sort of park up and go to the check-in booth. And as we arrive, a really cool thing is that they take your number plate that you've used to book onto the ferry. They know who you are straight away. So
look at me with my reservation. The lady doesn't even need it.
We've got our reservation prepared, and she's like, no, I know who you are. So yeah, they just sort of have all that information already available, and the check-in process is pretty easy. They give you some tickets from the check-in booth, so you know, don't lose them.
And they tell you where and how to park as well. Like that's quite important. We do like to know where and how to park.
Yeah, so she says, drive towards my colleague over there, and she will tell you exactly which lane you need to park in. So yeah, it's pretty straightforward.
Actually, I have to turn. I'm not going straight.
Okay.
Oh,
So yeah,
good pun.
we are aiming towards the colleague that she was pointing out
Yeah.
to us. So
Yeah, so a lot of people are kind of stressed about getting on board and all that, and genuinely it's not a hard process or anything like that. Um, and so yeah, Sherry is asking if I don't know my number plate yet, can I give it to them at the check-in counter? Yeah, so they will actually see it when you come in, but yeah, otherwise they will take your name or anything. It just happened to be that convenient on that very day. It's absolutely okay. So a lot of people, as you can see just right in front of us, there is a camper van from, probably somebody foreign kind of traveling in the country. They don't necessarily have to know their number plate. It's absolutely fine. But yeah, as you can see, there's really a lot of people kind of waiting. So I was about to say, a lot of people are stressed about, like the parking and all these kind of things. But genuinely, it is really wide lane. It is really easy. There's no panic right here. And you're guided all the way through. So you see this lady just scans my ticket and straight away starts giving us very easy to follow instructions. It's not a hard process at all. And they're really happy to kind of like walk you through everything and go slow. They do know that a lot of people are going to be using a camper van and they don't usually often drive a camper van. It's absolutely okay. Hey Fabio, welcome on board. That's nice to have you on board of our ferry today. That's just the theme of the week. So yeah, so this is me in my little car, kind of doing my little loop, and you'll see me. You'll see me even kind of have to do a 2-point turn right here. Despite the fact it's really wide, I've just acted like a bit of an idiot. Actually, Laura was kind enough to... Oh, no, she's showing you guys that I'm doing a 2-point turn. I was like, Laura is kind enough to hide that, but no.
It's far enough away in the background.
Yeah. Sherry said that she's a little bit stressed already. She's an overthinker. Don't stress about it.
Yeah.
It is very simple.
So
and
they have like a lane for like smaller camper vans, and then they have a lane for larger motorhomes, which obviously they make the lane for larger motorhomes easier to access. That's sort of like the easiest place to park, really. But yeah, as you can see here, we're pointing towards like there's a lane where there are medium-sized camper vans. So. It's all very well spaced out, and you don't have to do any crazy maneuverabilities at this point.
All right. So while we're waiting, so obviously there is a significant wait every time. It's kind of like at every stop you can, every section you kind of have to wait. We're going to answer Adil's question about accessibility. So Adil is asking, I would like to know if the BlueBridge Ferry is wheelchair accessible and if there are any accessible cabins aboard the ship. So when you are about to take the BlueBridge Ferry with a wheelchair, you can actually just tell them in advance, and they will also park you in an area on the ferry which has more space than what you will see us having. Therefore, you'll be able to get off your car and get back in your car with a bit more freedom. And then within the ferry, there are lifts everywhere, so you'll be able to get to pretty much everywhere quite easily within the ferry. So they are really large elevator, and we will show them to you. We thought about you, Adil. So we will show them to you in there.
Yeah. They also, upon check-in as well, you just need to just remind them as well, I'd like to have, easy access to the lift, so that way they will park you as close to the elevator as possible as well when they're parking you, when you're getting on board.
All right, so after a long wait, obviously we did cut, right? The wait was a little longer than that, but it's normal, right? After a long wait, so then every lane is basically directed, by the staff. As you can see, there's people in high visibility vests, yes. Vest pretty much everywhere pointing you in the right direction. And then the boarding process, the vehicle boarding process is starting. Now, if you are taking the ferry by foot, as you can see on screen right now, there are some people by foot which are going to be waiting on what's the sides on that side right here?
On the left-hand side.
On the left-hand side right here, you will see people just right here.
Walking through a tunnel.
Yeah, you see where that orange person is? This is where all the people which are foot passengers are currently waiting, and they are gonna make their way in as well. So here you go. This is just to show you what the non-vehicle passenger is. Now we can keep talking. It was one section we needed to show. Yeah.
Cool. Also, if you're a foot passenger, there is an inside waiting room with toilet facilities, seats and stuff. I think there were vending machines there as well, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
So and the information check-in and things like that. So you have a comfortable place to wait as well if you're just a foot passenger.
All right, so we are making our way onto the ferry itself right now. So as you can see, we do have a small car, but in front of us there is a larger kind of SUV type of vehicle, and there is space to maneuver your way around. It's not too really cramped and too hard to make your way onto the ferry. A lot of people are very stressed about that. I know Sherry is already like panicking for sure about to take that ferry, but it is relatively easy to kind of board. And so what we decided to do on this one is I will show you literally the whole way up, so you'll be able to see exactly what will happen to you, so you know if you're stressed or not about it. Especially if you do have an automatic vehicle, it's going to be really easy because you don't have to try to do like those kind of
hill start.
those going uphill start, which are a bit tough. And if you feel like you need a little bit extra space because you want to clear a little bit of a bump or something, just let the vehicle in front kind of go a little bit ahead of you, like I just did right here. There is absolutely no stress in kind of taking it slow and steady. It's a whole boarding process, right? So they're boarding about 150 at most. They will board 150 cars, so it's not like too many. It's okay. So but yeah, that's my Sherry face right here. Sherry's asking, are there public toilets around the area before you board? So yes, so where you are waiting with your vehicle, in front and at the back there are public toilets. You can get out of your vehicle and go to the public toilet for sure. And if you are a foot passenger, literally in a building where there is check-in and desks, and as Laura was saying, like chairs and everything else, and there are stations to charge your phone with USB plugs and everything like that. And there are also some very big toilets. And yes, ideal, all the toilets are, or not all the toilets, but the toilets in the waiting area are wheelchair accessible. We did go check it ourselves to make sure it was. So yeah, here you go. So I made it to deck probably 3, I think, or maybe 2. I don't know which deck I am on right now, but we made it all the way up there. And as you can see, every about like let's say 5 meters there is a staff, kind of make sure that we go in the right place. So you're always like orientated, well guided throughout the whole process. So you're never going to be like panicking of like where was I supposed to go, and how was I supposed to go there. So yeah, it's a very simple process. I hope that this reassures everybody watching right here that it is not hard to make your way there. And if at any point you have any questions, all those people in high-vis right now are actually all super happy to kind of help and point you in the right direction. And even when you see when I park, they are actually going to actually tell us how to park. The one thing you have to keep in mind is that, people are going to get off their cars, without looking too much. So just kind of be aware of that. There's going to be people everywhere as you get closer to where you're supposed to park. Everybody's offboarding and getting their way, making their way onto the ferry itself. So yeah. I'm focused right now, so guys, I can't talk too much. I'm really focused on the driving. As you can see right here on the side as well, motorcycles are also allowed on the ferries. There are special spots for them, so easy breezy. What is Sherry saying?
Sherry says, thank you for this video, by the way. It really helps. I get worried sometimes when I don't know exactly where I'm going in new places.
Well, here you go. There is kind of no way you're not going to know everything there is to know in this video, right? So we are only a few minutes in, and there is 43 more minutes of videos coming
You'll
to you,
know
right?
every step of the process.
Yes, there is kind of no way you're not going to see. So yeah, so as I was pointing out, you have always a staff that's going to help you kind of find your final resting spot for that vehicle. It's going to, boom, tells you how to park. You're done. This is where you're staying for the rest of your time.
Easy.
Yeah, and they keep on helping other people, but what that's happening basically. Basically, you are starting gathering all your belongings, so make sure that you grab everything that you need, because you can't get back to your car, can you, Laura?
No, you can't. So once everybody's onboarded, you'll see us going upstairs, and then once everybody is, where they need to be, they will cordon off the stairs and the elevators back down to the deck with the cars. So you can't access your car once the journey gets underway. So
if you need your phone charger, your water,
it is handy to have like just a little day pack or something to take.
An extra
with
layer
you.
is very important as well.
Yeah, extra layer. Any bits of entertainment you might need, or any snacks, or just anything like that. So just make sure you have everything.
Yeah. And by the way, you can see that the ferry gets full relatively quickly. So there
Yeah.
was no edit right here, and you see we're already surrounded
They
with
do a very
cars.
efficient job.
Yeah, so Laura has packed everything that we needed. So now Laura is going to become the star of the show. And so yeah, what's happening to you, Laura?
Yeah, so we got our bags, what we need, and we're going to go make our merry way up onto the higher decks where all the foot passengers go once they've parked their cars. Sherry is saying that she's glad there's no reverse parking involved. Me too. So yeah, let's head towards. Well, you basically can see where everyone's walking towards. So
Yeah.
although there's not any massive sign saying like this way, it's just like it's really obvious where you need to walk
Well,
to.
the easy way they do is that they point the right direction to the first couple of people, and then bam, everybody follows. So yeah.
And as you can see, windy Wellington is. You can tell we're in Wellington.
So yeah.
So we basically just like sort of follow the crowd towards. There's a set of stairs, but like we say, there's also an elevator.
And we
from
will
the
show
car
them to you.
deck.
So we'll get quickly sidetracked that you guys probably won't be. But bye-bye, Wellington.
Yeah.
You guys probably won't be. But we'll follow the steps for now, and then we'll just do a quick sidetrack to show you guys the elevator and where it is. Laura, were you cold? No, it was just the wind, wasn't it?
Oh, it's just the wind.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I had.
I mean, it was winter in
yeah.
Wellington, but still, like, I
I
don't
had a
think it was
jacket
that cold
on,
over
so
there,
it was fine.
But yeah, having a windproof jacket and a jumper would be quite handy, as we're going to show you all the outdoors area where you have some fantastic views, and you won't regret packing extra layers right here, and even in
Yeah.
extra snacks and stuff.
Yeah,
anyway.
you will actually want to spend some time outside while you're on the ferry, which we'll get to, but it is definitely worth like being prepared to be outside where it is going to be very windy, because you're on a moving ferry, so it will be windy. It always has been every single time we've taken any of the ferries. So.
Every single time.
Yeah. So yeah, here's the elevator, guys.
So we want to show you Adil, the elevator. So here you go. So obviously you can keep going with the stairs and you go to the other area, but we'll just take the elevator quickly to show you like the area where the cabins are. We will get back to the cabins later, but we wanted to show you that there is a large elevator available in
and
case.
Adil was asking if the cabins were wheelchair accessible. So yeah, the elevator actually goes all the way to the cabins because the cabins are on a higher deck, so it gives you access to all the areas basically, so you have full access. So easy as.
And so you can see one of the rare shots you're going to see today, which include Laura and I, thanks to the mirrors of the ferry. Anyway, so we took the elevator to show you what it looked like. So if somebody was waiting for the elevator in the meantime, and we're arriving in the big reception area. So right here, there is a big reception desk where you can go collect the key or book a cabin if you didn't book one, but we'll see that a bit later. And on the side, there is also a quiet area. Now on the left side of Laura, we're going to see a cinema, but we'll see that a little bit later.
We'll come back to some of those things, yeah.
And we're just kind of making our way through like the main areas that you're going to see of the ferry. Right here, those stairs would go up to the cabins, for instance. And this is the cafe. So there is both a cafe and a cafeteria / restaurant. This is the cafe. The collection area is closed right now, but the cafe is open right here, where you'll be able to order all your coffees. We had a coffee there, if I remember correctly.
Yeah,
we may film it. And this is kind of like the restaurant / cafeteria area. There is a lot on offer here from like all the drinks and everything like that. As you can see, everything is on the same level, so it is accessible. But yeah. So there is a lot of food on offer, and there's really a lot of kind of places to eat, and you have fantastic views as well. But we'll show you more of the views obviously a little bit later. And the food there was actually kind of restaurant styles, right? They don't just reheat them; they have a full kitchen there, which is absolutely epic. I mean, that's a kitchen with a view here.
So they had like various different food options. So you could go like cafeteria style, have some of the like pre-made stuff that they had. You could you can get cabinet food as well, so if you just want to pick up something quick, that's available. But yeah, like Robin says, there's also like made to order food. So if you wanted to order, for instance, they had burgers, nachos, or tacos, that sort of thing. So you can get something like a bit more. Oh yeah, they also have like a sort of charging station area as well, which was pretty cool with USB ports.
This is the kids' playground area where you need to stay with your kids. There's no nanny there, but at least you can entertain the
if
kids.
you need to entertain
And Laura is
small
pointing
children.
out. So there is plenty of games right here, and they will actually put a kids movie there or cartoons. And Laura was pointing throughout the whole ferry. There are bags if you are sick.
Yeah, the sick bags.
But yeah, honestly, you don't really feel like it's moving too much.
Yeah.
So as you can see on the side, we had accessible toilet, and now we're showing you the movie theater. So
Cinema.
yeah, the little cinema, onboard cinema. So they were showing the Avengers. So it's obviously not the newest movie or anything, but it's kind of a good way to kill a few hours when you are on the ferry. The seats are obviously a little dated, but still like comfortable and quite nice.
Yeah, they were like airplane style.
Yeah, it was kind of really fun to watch a movie there. We actually did watch probably a quarter of the movie, not even.
Yeah, we saw
just,
the end.
Yeah, just because we were showing you like all the different places. But yeah, so that's what the cinema kind of looks like in there. And yeah, the toilets and the accessible toilets are right here.
Changing facilities
All right.
as well.
So we're making our way back toward the front. So again, this is the Strait Feronia ferry. They have two different ferries. There's a Connemara and the Strait Feronia. But yeah, so at the front desk, as promised, we can pick up our keys to make our way toward the cabin. And just Laura was passing the quiet area where if you don't want to be bothered by anyone, if you want everybody to be quiet, you can get there. So this time we're going to be taking the back stairs to get all the way to the cabins, because why not? We kind of
we
want to
take
show
every
you
different route.
Yeah, we're just trying to show you like kind of different places, different ways to go. I can't remember where we're going right here, but yeah.
We're heading towards the cabin that we have been allocated.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, we got a key with a number on it. So and then when you get up to various different corridors and stuff, there are signs saying like cabins, 1 to 15 this way type thing. So yeah, we're following the instructions seen on the various boards and signs to point you in the right direction.
And another thing to mention is that sometimes they kind of personalize the cabin, which is kind of fun and cute. But what I wanted to say was that it's a great option to actually take a cabin if you are doing a lot of drivings and everything, honestly. So we admittedly on that trip, we were going from Wellington to Picton. We didn't really use the cabin. We'll show it to you a little bit, but that's pretty much it. But on the way back, going from the south end back to the north end, we actually did snooze very nicely. So yeah, Laura, where are we going?
There's me trying to find where our cabin is. On another note about the door, some of the doors though are a bit heavy, so if you are like in a wheelchair, it's kind of easier to have someone with you, like obviously travel with someone that can open the doors for you, because they are actually like as they are on like all ships and stuff, they're really heavy. Yes, I'll just distract you all from the fact that I am can't follow signs and can't find my way, despite it being very clear. It's just like, yeah.
You wish I was editing this section, didn't
Yeah.
you? Anyway, so we made it to the cabin. So let's show you what a cabin actually looks like. Okay, so that's kind of what the cabin looks like. So there are some with views, some without views, but let's be honest, the view is a small kind of ship-style window, so they're not really that big. And each cabin comes with toilet and shower facilities, which is kind of handy right here. If you are, if you need to freshen up. Yeah, it's always kind of nice. So each of the cabins come, or at least the cabins that we've seen, they all came with 4 different beds. So there's 2 beds right here, and then you can unfold 2 of them. I probably will show you that at some point. There is a lot of charging facilities, USBs, normal, like normal plugs, all of that. So you should be able to kind of plug very nicely, and they all use the same plugs that in New Zealand. So if you have an adapter, you should be good to go. So yeah, I'm just taking the bed down, making sure that it's not breaking anything. And so here you go. Here's another bed if you wanted to, and you can put your little
ladder on there.
So yeah, here you go. I just show it for the sake of example. Look at me.
Robin's gonna go tuck himself in.
Yes, there you go. So yeah, good night, Robin. But yeah, that's what the cabins are like, and genuinely, like, if you turn on the lights and everything like that, you can have a very, very nice time. Okay,
and that's great for some of the sailings that happen like in the middle of the night as well.
Smoking and vaping should be done from the should not be done, but if it has to be done, should be done through the tiny smoking areas, which all have a nice little view, so it's kind of nice. So here you go. But enough about the smoking. We are about to leave Wellington. So Laura and I need to find ourselves a nice viewing area.
Viewing deck. So
there is a lot of them.
There is. So there's a lot to explore around. There's various different viewing decks. You can go at one of the lower viewing decks, just sort of along the sides of the ferry. And then as you make your way up the stairs, you'll find various other viewpoints as well. So
Look at Laura taking in the view.
yeah. So yeah, that's also the good thing about the ferry as well, is like it doesn't ever feel too crowded. I mean, the most amount of people that we've seen is just everybody sort of getting onto, like, boarding the ferry at the same time is obviously when you have the most amount of people. But when it comes to actually everybody's on board, there's lots of different spaces and places to sort of sit down, relax. Everybody sort of has their, you can find your own sort of little cozy place to either relax.
There's nothing cozy about the windy viewing decks of
No,
Wellington, let's be honest.
So cozy places indoor.
Look at those hair.
Outdoors, not so cozy, but different places where you could just like take in the views and things. Obviously at the start the views are of the Wellington harbour, and with that the elements of Wellington as well.
Yes. But yeah, so obviously you're on top of a big ferry, of a large boat, so obviously it's going to be windy. So that's why we were telling you when we were at the car, make sure to pack all the stuff that you will need. You will absolutely need to carry with you, i.e. extra layers. But yeah, so the viewing areas are very large. There is plenty of viewing areas, and yeah, if you're lucky, you'll be able to spot your own vehicle down there. But yeah, look, I can see my car. No, I can't, because we're inside.
Upper viewing areas are definitely like the better viewing areas, I find. Like they have like seating areas, they have like little benches and stuff. So, and we definitely saw, we walked around the ferry like several times throughout the whole sailing. And there's some people that literally spend the whole sailing.
There was one
top.
Kiwi guy in very short shorts that was outside for the whole time. Anyway, we are slowly starting to leave Wellington, so we'll take some questions, guys. Make sure that you put your questions in the comment. That's no problem at all. We'll go over all of them as usual. I know this is a little bit of a different kind of NZ travel show, but we still get all your questions.
And you can also include some questions that aren't to do with the ferry.
Yes.
We always take any New Zealand travel questions, so go ahead.
All right, so Adil is asking, I see that there are some stairs from the parking to the elevator. Is that the only way to get to the elevator? No, the elevator starts from the bottom, as we mentioned earlier. We just decided to do a bit of the stairs and then a bit of the elevator to show you both. So to go up the 2 levels, we did 1 level in stairs, 1 level in elevators. But if you need to start from the get-go with the elevator, you absolutely can.
Yeah, the elevator accesses all the different decks, including where the cars are parked.
Yes. And so, so we're slowly leaving Wellington, so it's a great time for us to give you a bit of information about the Strait Feronia, which is the ferry that we are currently taking. So BlueBridge operates the Strait Feronia and the Connemara. So the Strait Feronia is the older kind of ferry, but older yet very well experienced. It can take about 150 cars and 400 passengers. And yeah, it has a lot of facilities there, but you have cafes, you have restaurants, you have a lounge. There is also the quiet lounge, the movie lounge, a family room, and plenty of viewing decks for sure. There are accessible toilets pretty much everywhere. There is baby changing areas, workstation, and you can also get your own private cabin. The boat itself is 186 meters long with a beam overall of 25.6 meters and a gross tonnage of 21,856 tons. So yeah, it usually travels around 16 knots, and that's already enough facts right here. While I was talking, you guys could see Laura traveling a little bit around the viewing deck, taking a lot of photos. I mean, obviously we took the time to take a lot of different photos because that's kind of what we do. Yeah, the ferry with BlueBridge travels about 4 times a day from each location, so that's basically 8 sailings per day. So it will leave Wellington 4 times per day and leave Picton 4 times per day as well, which is quite handy.
Yeah, lots of options.
Yes. So yeah, that seems like we're traveling fast, but it's not speed. No, it's not sped up at all. Yeah, no, okay, we're just going fast through the Wellington Harbour right here. I hope the captain knows what he's doing.
Yeah. So yeah, the first start of the sailing is is quite scenic, as like a lot of people talk about, like, oh yeah, going through the Marlborough Sounds is like the best part of the ferry sailing. However, it starts off pretty epic. You get to see like the obviously the sort of urban landscape of Wellington, but then as you sort of leave and go towards the end of the Wellington harbour, there's a lot of different sort of mountainous areas that you can see. There's wind farms that are visible. There's also lighthouses, which we'll probably show you guys a little bit later. But yeah, there is actually quite a lot to see, even just from the get-go, even departing from Wellington. So yeah, lots of photo opportunities, and you can definitely see why there's several people that decide to stay up here on the viewing deck for the entire sailing. And I must admit, when I first took the ferry in New Zealand, I was up here for the whole time. I was just like, this is epic. I just want to watch the whole amazing scenery go by.
Yeah, so the Wellington Harbour is really cool. Like, you know, despite the fact that, yeah, you are living in a really, really big city, there's still, like, you know, rugged cliffs, mountains, there's lighthouses to check out. You know, there's really a lot of things to see. We saw our friends with a really, really short right here. But yeah.
In summer, I definitely recommend having sunscreen and stuff like that for when you're, you know, staying on the viewing deck. Because although it'll feel like it's, you know, it'll feel quite cool with the wind, you'll still probably get burned quite a lot. So yeah, hats, sunscreen and all that in the summer months is definitely recommended. Jacket, pretty much for any occasion. It's quite windy. Depends how you are in the wind, but yeah, jacket's always good. Everybody's wearing a jacket.
Oh yeah, so. It's really windy. Sherry, you're asking for stops between Palmerston North and Wellington. We actually do have a video scheduled for that. So what I'll do, since you're on Patreon, I'll post it for you on Facebook within next week. For you as a preview, so you'll have an answer of like literally 10-minute video of us showing you all those places. We literally just recorded that before that actually.
Yeah. So yeah, we have the video just for you, Sherry.
Yeah, so that's pretty cool. So yeah, I'll give you a special sneak peek preview on the Patreon group. I'm just going to
make a note of that.
Write myself a bit of a note of that.
Yes.
But yeah, no, there is a lot of really cool there's really a lot of cool viewing areas and things to view on the way out, and also there's some wildlife. At some points we may see some wildlife.
Maybe we won't spoil that for you guys just yet, but yeah, it's like a wildlife scenic cruise, but it's also commuting. It's the perfect combo. So yeah, it's really cool to stay on the viewing decks, and as you can see, there's safety lifeboats and all the usual safety precautions that you would expect in a ship. But yeah, that's also why they don't let you back down to the cars and stuff for safety reasons while you are traveling. And we have definitely been in other countries where they allow you to stay in the car for the whole ferry sailing, and I have wondered to myself, is this actually safe? It really doesn't feel safe.
And then we had to escape from the window because Laura was starting to panic and it was getting really, really hot.
I do really appreciate the safety protocols of the BlueBridge Ferry, not allowing you to stay in your car, because that is really quite a dodgy thing to do anyway.
Speaking of safety, life rafts are everywhere, life jackets are everywhere. There's plenty of really big sign with that. So if you kind of safety conscious and a little bit stressed about any of that, you have nothing to stress about, I guess. I mean, obviously, nothing is ever 100% safe, but I mean, you know, all the safety procedures are followed very well, and there is no panic with that. Safety-wise, I actually don't think there's ever been any major accidents in New Zealand ferries anyway. The regulation in New Zealand are pretty tough. But yeah. All right, if you're wondering why the flag of New Zealand looks slightly different, this is a maritime flag of New Zealand. Many countries have slightly different maritime flags than they have normal flags. So yeah. Sherry is asking, she said, oh, thanks, I feel special. Well, all of our Patreon supporters are special. You guys actually decide to support us financially, and we genuinely absolutely love you guys for that. So yeah, you guys are absolutely awesome. Sherry's asking something else.
She says, how often do you guys see Kia around? I really want to see one in the wild. I've heard they like the rubber parts of cars.
Yeah, so you'll see plenty in the southern end of New Zealand. You won't see any on the northern end, but you will see plenty on the southern end of New Zealand, especially if you do some drives around the Southern Alps. So if you ever do any Arthur Pass or any of those kind of drives,
Milford Sound,
you'll definitely see them.
Yeah.
And there will be great photo opportunities. Laura, what are you zooming on? What are you even taking photos of
Oh,
right
I
now?
think at this you could sort of see a good view of the planes taking off from the Wellington airport.
Oh,
so
yeah,
there is a section here where it's So it was just cool to like watch the planes taking off, and I was just trying to get a photo.
It looks like you're taking a photo of us right here.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. So that was another cool thing. There's always something fun to see.
So Sherry, we actually will show you some Kia birds in another video that we recorded.
In some upcoming videos.
Like where we went on the Southland as well. So
definitely like Arthur's Pass is like one of the main places where people see them the most often. There's really good like conservation work and stuff that they do around there to make sure that the populations keep quite high there. But yeah, Milford Sound as well. Like we said, it's both of those areas is where you're almost guaranteed to see one. Other areas you'll be lucky to see them in other alpine areas, but they are available. Like you do see them in other alpine areas. Like we've seen them at Franz Josef, for instance.
All right. So as we were making our way outside of the Wellington Harbour, the captain addressed everybody on board,
addressed the nation,
and said, "Hey, there are some dolphins, massive pod of dolphins." And so all those little splashy splash on the water happen to be awesome dolphins coming and playing on the bow of the ferry. One of the great things is that, the crew is watching out for the wildlife and making sure that we don't miss a bit. So, look at how many dolphins there are around.
Hundreds.
Yeah, there was really, really a ton of dolphins. They were like literally rushing to come to the ferry to give us a good show. I mean, they probably were just coming to have a good play for themselves, but down they were giving us a really good show. So that's absolutely awesome that the captain was able to spot them and tell everybody to come and have a look. And they were absolutely having a blast. That was so cool to see some dolphins. I always like to see some wildlife, don't you, Laura?
Yeah, these ones are dusky dolphins, which are the type of dolphins that you usually swim with if you go to Kaikoura, and they're the ones that are usually quite, playful and acrobatic. But other types of dolphins that you might see often on the ferry are bottlenose dolphins, which are quite large. They're much larger than those ones. So seeing dolphins.
They eat a dusky dolphin for breakfast.
Oh, I hope not. Seeing dolphins is quite common on the ferries.
Yeah, it won't be unusual for sure. All right, Sherry says she won't be going to Arthur Pass, but hopefully she'll get something before time.
And make sure you do lots of stops, because obviously you're only going to increase your chances of seeing Kia if you stop somewhere for a little bit. Just go to lots of different stops and see try your chances.
All right, so now we're showing you something slightly bit different, and this is a different viewing area that's right in front, and obviously it gets really windy. I feel like Laura's hair got a treat on that day. You get the blow dry of the century right here, that's for sure. So you can access quite a lot of different areas. So the area we're filming right here, this is an area which is restricted, just the one in front of us. But where we are right now, it is a public area where you can go. But obviously you can see that it's restricted with just so much machinery is there. We don't want people to go play around with it.
Stuff.
So it's pretty cool that you can get so many different viewing areas. Fabio says he's not going to see the ferry. He's going to see it from the plane. So hey, here you go. If you watch the whole episode today, you'll have done basically the whole ferry, right? We still have 20 minutes of that ferry journey to show you. So yeah, Sherry says don't need to blow dry your hair on your ferry day. Look at Laura's hair. It's amazing. It's a character of its own, isn't it?
I mean, you could get your cabin and go for a shower and then go straight outside and dry your hair.
All right, guys, speaking of getting inside, we are going to show you a restricted area, something that not that many people get to see. And
it's an exclusive for you guys.
So we are going to show you the bridge where the captain operates. So we're making our way toward the crew area. So just a fun fact about the ferry. Actually, the crew actually lives on board. They don't get dropped off at the end of every workday. They live on board for 2 weeks, and then they get some time off, and then they get back on board, and they basically stay on board for the whole time because it's just simpler in that way. So we pass through like where the crew kind of lives. And here is the bridge. This is the captain that's going to quickly escape.
He sees the camera and runs.
Yeah, he sees the camera and runs. He says hi, and then we're going to talk to his second shipmate that's going to show us a little bit about how the the boat is operated. But it's quite incredible how computerized it is. It's a little bit like a plane cockpit. You know, they really often say that the planes are like mostly computers, but yeah, it's the same thing for the ferry. Like they have like ton of screens and machineries and buttons, and that's, you know, it looks very far away from your pirate ship at the Captain Jack Sparrow, isn't it?
There's no helm.
Yeah.
There's no one at the helm.
Yeah, where do you stand when you want to stay at the helm? So Laura is going to be taking a few photos because that's what she does, and she loves taking photos, and I'll kind of make my way a little bit around and show you a little bit of the whole console and how the whole thing works. I obviously cannot tell you how the whole thing works because, you know, that's a lot of different buttons, but it's kind of cool to see how, you know, see a little bit of a behind the scene. Look, Captain Laura right here. Too bad for all of us. But yeah. So yeah, that's what the bridge of the BlueBridge Ferry looks like. You know, obviously there is a lot of screen. Obviously they have to have a really big view of everything. So, you know, it's not the best filming in the world, as we were talking to people and everything, but you get to see all the different buttons if you're curious about buttons.
Kiwi Lauren is here saying, "Hi, I'm late to the party. We are hosting our own little party at our house currently. 4 7-year-olds sprawled out watching a movie on the couches. Now they have popcorn and blankets, so I'm here."
Nice.
Nice.
Well, welcome on board. We are taking the BlueBridge Ferry together. You miss all the onboarding and checking out most of the facilities, but now you get to see the exclusive part where we show you basically the helm of the ship, which doesn't really exist, but yeah. So yeah, this is the second in command that is showing us a little bit the map and how everything works. It's obviously very hard to film these kind of things, but yeah, he's showing us how they map the route, how they have to deviate at times when there is another ship, around, and yeah, it's kind of a cool thing to see. We just thought if we do an episode like that, we need to show you something a little bit more exclusive than what you can see yourself. The value here is to show you everything you want to know about it, yes, for sure, but it's also to kind of give you a bit of an exclusive taste and show you what you get to see. Yeah,
always providing extra value at NZ Pocket, guys.
Exactly. By the way, if you do like this sort of episode, do let us know if that works for you guys. I know there is very little views, so that probably means that it's not something we should do again, but if you feel like it's a cool thing, even if you're watching a replay of that, just put it in the comments so we kind of know if it's something that we need to kind of do again or not. It looks like it's probably not something we'll do very often, seeing that we have 6 viewers. But yeah, Kiwi Lorraine is 28 days until she flies to New Zealand, so that's pretty cool. And she says, "I remember when I was celebrating getting into the double digit at 99 days.
Yeah, I know, it's going
every day.
so fast.
I feel like it was yesterday that she was saying 99 days. That is kind of insane.
Wow.
So yeah, she'll be in New Zealand in a jiffy.
In a jiffy.
indeed.
Less than a month.
I know, it's kind of shocking. And then we're going to have to meet her. That's just, I don't know if I'm ready. I
feel like it's been a long time.
Yeah.
The anticipation.
Yeah.
The countdown started at 174 days, so this has gone really quickly, she says.
It does.
Yeah.
It does, yeah. Okay, so again, if you do have any questions about taking the ferry, just go nuts. We're here to help. We're here to answer all your questions about the ferry. We'll obviously show you more of the facilities, and we'll also show you the offboarding for sure. We just thought we'd show you something a bit more exclusive along the way. That is a lot of screens. Laura, what's that button doing?
I'm not sure. Shall we press it and find out?
Yeah, did you get to touch any of the buttons or no?
I didn't dare. No, I didn't.
And he told me to press one button. I don't know what he did. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's a button that doesn't have any wires behind, but he told me to press one button, and so I did. So those are the big levers that you push and pull to kind of set the speed of the ship. So that's what he was explaining to me a little bit. And so yeah, you set the speed of the ship, and then you're like, whoa!
It's all speed ahead.
Yeah, all speed ahead indeed. But yeah, it's kind of interesting how basically the computer was also giving me prompts as to what to do, which is kind of interesting. And yeah, I don't know what this thing was, but there was there.
Is
But
this
yeah.
like an aircraft carrier? Is there something we don't know about this ferry?
New Zealand's stealthy carrier. You
I
guys
think
don't know that,
so.
right? New Zealand has a stealth carrier disguised as the Strait Feronia.
There was a huge circle painted on the bottom of the viewing deck, and I was kind of thinking, like, is this like a helicopter port or something? But yeah.
All right, so we have the bridge, so we can see the reflection of my face on the bottom right corner. But yeah, there is a couple which is brave enough to brave the weather outside. But you can see that they're enjoying the view for sure. But it is windy. But yeah, so we are finally making our way toward the Marlborough Sound.
Yes.
So this is kind of like the later half or the later quarter, let's say, of the cruise. So we skipped ahead right here, right? We were mostly in Wellington. Then we were in between the straits, to show you the bridge. And now we are kind of like, it's almost the end, right? So we are arriving in the Marlborough Sound.
It's the finale.
Yeah, so Laura, Marlborough Sound, do you like it?
Yeah, it's beautiful. So as you're approaching, you do come into this sort of sound landscape. It's basically a smaller version of a fjord. So if you've been to, if you go to Milford Sound, you have grand mountains towering above you. This is more of a, just a slightly smaller version where you've got more like, some hills coming out of the water there. But as you approach it, you do have these sort of cliffs right beside the ferry. So the ferry's navigating through the sound, and this particular sound is the Queen Charlotte Sound that you are going through.
And it's damn beautiful. So the journey, the total journey of the ferry takes about 3.5 hours, right? That's kind of like roughly what it is. Include boarding, offboarding, and everything. Make it 4.5 hours if you want to kind of play it safe. And this is probably about the last let's say 30 to 45 minutes. That's what you're seeing right here. Kiwi Lauren has a good question and says, I've never taken the BlueBridge Ferry, only the entire Islander a few times. What would you say the main difference are, if any?
Okay, so first of all, I would say that there's a big emphasis on the cabins in BlueBridge. They have a lot of cabins. So if you were looking for a bit of extra comfort on your ferry journey, then they are a really good option to go for.
I do really like the movie theater, which is only on the Strait Feronia. So the Connemara doesn't really have that. They play a kids movie in the kids lounge and that's it. But yeah, so I do like the movie theater. I do like the space of the restaurant. Like I do really like that as opposed to the Inter-Islander, which feels a little bit different. That said, Inter-Islander gets new ferry coming in next few years, so that's probably going to be changing as well. But I feel like the extra kind of facilities and comfort is definitely what you're getting with BlueBridge. When it comes down to nickel and dimes as well, BlueBridge is slightly cheaper than it is with Inter-Islander. However, if you want to purchase a cabin, well, you have to pay a little bit extra. But I mean, in my opinion, when you're tired and when you're doing a lot of driving, it's definitely worth it for sure.
So what what BlueBridge, that focuses, it has say a smaller public indoor area than Inter-Islander does. So sort of BlueBridge sort of makes up for that with a lot more cabin areas than Inter-Islander, but Inter-Islanders will have several different cafes to go to and stuff. So so BlueBridge only has that sort of one main public area that you can that we showed you towards the beginning of the video. So if you do
it
want
has
to
one
rewind,
cafe and one restaurant.
and then a lot of
seating. Kind of merge. Yeah, they will merge into the same area.
Yeah, so that would be another difference. If you wanted to explore more public areas, maybe you would want to do Inter-Islander. But what I also liked about BlueBridge is the fact that it felt a lot less crowded than I think we've taken with the Inter-Islander.
Sure.
Inter-Islander does a lot more marketing, appeals more to the international market just because they have that really good sort of marketing going on. But
in turn, make the boarding much easier. Rather than being in between 3 or 4 big, huge mighty or Maui camper vans and everything. We were just our tiny little car. That was so much easier.
It kind of feels like BlueBridge is a bit of the underdog of the ferry scene. So it really was a good experience to have gone on both ferries and see this one it does feel a little quieter. There's more space. So as I was saying earlier in the video, it always feels like you can go to like, there's lots of different areas that you can relax in, and also viewing areas where, like, look at this couple just in front of us. Like, they had pretty much this whole deck to themselves. So, well, not whole deck to themselves, but the whole viewing area.
That's a very, we've filming the GoPro. It's a wide angle. They have a lot of space. Yeah, it's very
exactly.
spacious,
So it never feels too crowded as well, which was great. And it's great if you are stressed with the driving aspect. Getting onto the ferry, I felt like it was very smooth.
And to your point, anyway, look, we got a table which is right in front of you at the time when the view is the best, without any problem, right?
Yeah.
So that's kind of cool. Adil is saying, do you know what the medical facilities are like on this ship in case of medical emergency? Nope, we do not know that. We haven't visited like the doctor's office or anything.
No.
I think they probably just have first aid and some staff which are
first aid trained,
and that's basically it, right? That's probably what it is, but it's just not speculation.
An educated guess.
Yes, it's just an educated guess, right? I do not know if they have a doctor on board or anything. Anyhow, all right, so we are arriving in the beautiful Picton Harbour. Our ferry is about to berth in the beautiful harbour, and we are going to have to do a bit of a looparoo, a bit of a turneroo, and make our way, inside our kind of off-boarding area, and then get to our car and get out. So as we're making our way toward Picton, there starts being a few announcements saying, hey, if you have a car, start making your way to your car and all these kind of things. And obviously what Laura does is getting a last few viewing points. Obviously, that's what she does.
Obviously.
So yeah, but it is your time to start making your way toward your vehicle. But, make sure you take in the view. The Marlborough Sound is actually taking in the view. Sorry, the Marlborough Sound is absolutely fantastic. And yeah, Picton is quite stunning. So we were lucky enough to actually arrive at sunset. And again, it was winter, so the sun is going to set really damn quickly.
Yeah.
You saw the shot of the boat kind of arriving in Picton first, and you can see like the sun is already significantly more down. And so yeah, here's what's going to happen. So the boat's nose right now is basically facing the harbor, and what the boat's going to have to do is to basically do a 180 and turn around because it has to park butt first. That's right, I'm using the correct boat terminology, aren't I?
Oh, yes.
So the nose is facing right now, but it needs to face the butt. So here's what's going to happen. The boat is going to do a 180, and Laura is obviously preparing herself to direct the boat. Look at her, she was already pointing in the right direction.
That's definitely what I was doing. I was pointing the boat in the right direction.
But quite a lot of people have decided to get out and obviously take in the view and film that. It's kind of like, it's kind of a really cool kind of place to be at and see that. And you can see that the boat is parking. That's right, I'm using all the correct boating terms. Is parking literally right by the Inter-Islander ferry. So if you were thinking, oh, one company has a better location than the other, no, really.
They're side by side.
They're side by side, and they take off from a similar place, and they will take back in, and they start from the same place as well. So it's relatively close by. Kiwi Lowen says, random question, but is there still a Mickey Mouse statue at the waterfront of Picton? There was 16 years ago. Seems odd. I don't think so.
I didn't see one. No, they have a really epic playground with
that
like a
was really
huge
large
ship.
playground, yeah.
So yeah, they have. So there's like the Whaling Heritage Museum sort of on the waterfront, and then just before that, like just in front of that, is like a playground area which looks pretty epic. I'm pretty jealous of those kids. With like a big boat to play on and stuff. It's really cool. And then some just seating areas to take in the views of the water.
Sherry is asking, what's happening in the Patreon session today? I may not be able to make it. I've got a pretty busy morning. So, if you guys don't know, if you support us on Patreon, you get an extra 1 hour live show, which is pretty awesome. So, as we're watching the ferry actually make its turn and making sure its butt is facing in the right direction. What's happening on the Patreon session today? We are going to watch an impersonation video that somebody made of us. So, yeah.
Somebody made a parody of us.
Yes, somebody made a parody of us, and so we'll watch that and we'll see if it's funny or not.
If you can believe that, I mean, somebody thought we were worthy of making a parody.
Yeah,
of.
and I think this is the best form of flattery. So we'll watch that together. And, then we'll have all classic casual chats together. But yeah, so the ferry is slowly doing its turn, and so it takes surprisingly little amount of time. I always think like, those kind of maneuvers going to take hours and everything, but it takes it like less than 10 minutes to like kind of go around, turn around. It's kind of like fast. I don't even know if 10 minutes is maybe it's 5. I don't know, but it was really fast. I was really surprised how fast it was.
Yeah.
I don't really have the right
The data, the
the
numbers.
right data. Yeah. If somebody from BlueBridge watches this at any point, can you please comment below and correct all the information we said wrong, including this one? I want to know how long it takes you to do the 360.
the
Please let
spin.
us know. Anyway, so you've got to make your way back down to your car.
You do. So they will open the doors once you are free to go down to your car, which kind of happens once they've sort of parked up. Parked up? Again, we don't know our sailing terms, but once the boat is parked up, you can make your merry way back to your vehicle, which, I mean, you should have some idea where it was parked. Do keep that in mind. When you are leaving your car, make sure you know where you parked it so you can easily find it.
Like Laura, she pointed out, she got it.
I could certainly find it a lot easier than I could find the cabin. But yeah, so yeah, just squeezing our way through the vehicles, and then once you get to your vehicle, they ask you to not switch on your engines and stuff straight away. So
just switch on your engine when the car in front of you is already moving.
It
doesn't take that long to get started.
Yeah, you don't need to sort of start guzzling that gas for no reason.
I have to say the person behind us was a bit of a grumpy person and started kind of like making their way, trying to move like behind us. It just doesn't change anything. Everything has to be empty. Obviously, I did cut right here. It takes a bit of a while, right? So I did cut the video because I felt like you guys watching us kind of waiting forever is useless. But
so just
look at the stuff.
I know, just to reassure Sherry, even when you leave the ferry, you don't need to reverse. You just they fill it out in a way so that you can basically do a turn and you've got space to just drive forward. It's just like even disembarking the ferry is made easy, like arguably easier than getting on the ferry. So yeah, less stress.
All right, so what we're going to be doing right here is making our way outside the ferry, and then we're going to be in Picton. So now a couple of things that you're going to see in Picton is that you're going to see a lot of roadworks. This obviously may have changed by the time. Woo! It looks like I'm going fast, but I'm really not going that fast. But yeah, so as we're getting off the ferries, there are signs everywhere. There's kind of really no way to get lost. And again, you're going to see a lot of construction work and everything. That obviously may change by the time you're getting there. But yeah, make sure that you follow slowly. Well, usually just the car in front of you. But it's even if you're the first car, which usually you're not the first car because there's usually going to be a truck. But yeah, even if you're the first car, you're not going to get lost. Guaranteed. It's a Robin guaranteed. But yeah, so you're now in Picton. You're now in the southern of New Zealand. Good job, everybody. You made it.
Well done.
Adil says, brilliant, very informative video. I would like to see more of these videos. Nice to hear that, my friend. Make sure to share it. So, if it's popular, we'll do some more for sure. And Sherry says, I'm worrying about trying to reverse my camper van in general. My reversing skill are not the greatest. Well,
we'll send you a link on. We'll send you a link from NZ Pocket Guide. We have an article of how to drive your camper van the easy way. So we've got some tips on that.
All right, everybody. Thank you very much for joining us for this live session. We see you in a Patreon show in a few minutes. Bye-bye.
Bye.